The sunglasses that saw secrets. Max wasn't usually one for yard sales. His Saturdays were typically reserved for competitive napping and attempting to beat his high score in galactic gobblers. But his mom, armed with the promise of treasure, had dragged him out to Mrs. Henderson's annual clear-out. Most of the treasure seemed to be moth-eaten sweaters and chipped ceramic cats. Max was about to declare the expedition a bust when something glinted in a dusty box. It was a pair of old sunglasses. Their frames were a curious mix of dark wood and tarnished brass, with lenses that seemed almost too dark, like polished obsidian. They looked ancient, yet strangely inviting. "How much for these?" Max asked, holding them up to Mrs. Henderson, who peered over her reading glasses. "Oh, those old things? $1/4, dear. Found them in the attic." A quarter later, the sunglasses were Max's. He slipped them on, mostly to amuse himself. The world immediately dimmed, taking on a subtle sepia tone. He looked at a faded garden gnome, and for a second he thought he saw faint, shimmering text hovering above it, like heat haze. He blinked, and it was gone. Probably just the sun playing tricks, he thought, but a flicker of curiosity had been ignited. Later that afternoon, back in the sanctuary of his room, Max put the sunglasses on again. He glanced at his wall, covered in band posters and scribbled notes. This time, there was no mistaking it. Faint, glowing letters hovered above a poster of the Screaming Llamas. Beneath the oldest oak, a whisper waits. Max pulled them off, bewildered. The message vanished. He put them back on. It reappeared. "Whoa," he breathed. He tried looking at a book on his shelf. The History of Ancient Civilizations. Above it, a new message danced. Pages turn, truths unfold, but some tales are best left untold unless you know where to look. Max felt a thrill run through him. These weren't just sunglasses, they were magic. The next day, Max started his hunt. He remembered an ancient oak tree in the town square, its gnarled branches reaching like skeletal arms. He put on the sunglasses as he approached it. Sure enough, shimmering text appeared at the base of the trunk. "Seek the bench where dreams are spun, near the fountain where wishes run." He found the bench easily, worn smooth by countless visitors. Above it, a new clue. The baker's bread, a secret share for those who know the silent prayer. Max's stomach rumbled. Old Man Fitzwilliam's bakery was legendary for its sourdough. Max walked in, the scent of yeast and sugar, a warm embrace. He bought a small loaf then. With the sunglasses on, he noticed a faint inscription on the counter itself, almost invisible to the naked eye. "Ask not for bread, but for a story," softly said. "Mr. Fitzwilliam," Max said hesitantly, "do you have any stories?" The old baker, his hands dusted with flour, looked up, a twinkle in his eye. "Stories, boy? Plenty. Sit a spell." He recounted tales of the town's early days, of secret tunnels beneath the main street, and of a forgotten tradition where townsfolk would leave anonymous gifts for those in need. Max listened intently, the sunglasses showing him faint outlines of events as the baker spoke. He felt a connection to his town he'd never known. The sunglasses led him on. He saw messages in the patterns of clouds. "Look up, little wanderer, for solace in the sky." On the weathered bricks of the old library, "Knowledge sleeps, but kindness wakes in the forgotten nook." And even in the reflections on the river, "Still waters hold the deepest truths, if you but gaze with open youth." Each message was a small piece of a larger puzzle, hinting at forgotten history, local legends, and acts of quiet generosity that had shaped his small town. One evening, the sunglasses guided him to the community garden. Above a patch of vibrant sunflowers, a message glowed. The brightest blooms conceal the seed of a selfless act, a helping deed. He looked closer and saw a small, weather-beaten wooden box half buried beneath the roots of the largest sunflower. Inside, wrapped in faded cloth, was a collection of old letters and photographs. They told the story of Mrs. Albright, a kind woman who, during the lean years of the Depression, had secretly grown extra vegetables in the garden and left them for struggling families in town. Max felt a lump in his throat. He had known Mrs. Albright as the quiet lady who always waved from her porch, never realizing the depth of her kindness. The sunglasses didn't lead to a chest of gold or sparkling jewels, but to something far more valuable, a treasure trove of human stories. Max realized the secrets weren't cryptic codes for riches, but forgotten acts of love, resilience, and community spirit. He learned that his town wasn't just buildings and streets, but a living tapestry woven with countless threads of human experience, many of them invisible until you knew how to look. He decided not to tell anyone about the sunglasses, not yet. Some secrets, he realized, were meant to be discovered slowly, personally. He just smiled, a new appreciation for the world around him sparkling in his eyes, even when the sunglasses were off. He knew there were countless more stories waiting to be found, and Max was now ready to see them.